Can I convince my boyfriend that he's making a mistake, or am I not seeing the bigger picture? I love my boyfriend very much. We've been together for 9 months. Albeit we met on Tinder and didn't plan for our relationship to blossom the way it did. He was going to move to Irvine last August and that would be the end of our summer fling, but we both fell. He asked with me to help him move down there and stay a while. Since then I've either visited him every weekend, Thursday to Monday, or he came back to our town to stay a couple weeks. This is by far the healthiest relationship I've been in, and he's said so as well on several occasions. Even if there's conflict, we sit down, talk things out, and ultimately respect each other greatly. And we both feel our love languages are nurtured and we inspire each other. For my birthday in January he gifted me a 24 kilotons gold ring shaped like a snake, favorite animal, which is part of the reason why I'm conflicted. Problem is that he wants to call it off. His reasoning is that coming from a long relationship before me, almost a decade, he was unable to pursue the things he wanted out of life because of her insecurities, and out of his own depression he fell behind on much more. He says he wants to be independent and feels he has to put himself first right now, as he cannot be the doting boyfriend while he gets his new degree in nursing and takes on a new 12-week program at his current job to get higher pay for school. He's got 2 years of heavy-duty work/study ahead of him and is saying that at the end of the 2 years he wants to come back to me a better man ready to settle down. He's 27 and I'm 22. He's previously brought up that he's ready to marry, start a family and get the house once his ducks are all in a row. I think it's unfair that he wants to end the relationship for 2 years and come back to it. But so many things make me believe him: the ring, his consistent honesty throughout our relationship, his actions. I felt completely blindsided by this because it seems entirely unlike him. Would it be a fruitless endeavor to try to talk to him about a compromise? I don't want to lose him. Edit. Thank you all for your eye-opening comments. I was living in delusion about this and desperate to keep it going. It was just the first relationship where a man wasn't abusing me and I was afraid to lose it. I can find it again. And to the therapy comments, I am in it, but I still have a long and arduous road ahead. Told him what the majority of you were saying, still no response. Thank you again. He wants a 2-year break. That is unrealistic at best. Chances are very, very high at least one of you will meet someone else. People and circumstances can change drastically in 2 years, and that's more than twice the length of your relationship thus far. I'd put my cards on the table. If he really wants to settle with you, there's no way there can be a total break here. It should be maintain the relationship in some capacity, or it's done for good. Him expecting you to wait 2 years for him is incredibly self-centered. He's either painfully naive or just trying to soften the blow of the breakup by saying he'll be back, with no intention of doing so. I think he is making a good decision for himself. Support him, but you have no responsibility to take him back later. Thank you. If someone loves you like that, they won't want to risk losing you by breaking up for 2 years. It's fine that he wants to do this, and I don't think you should stand in his way, but make no mistake, this man does not love you, and you deserve someone who isn't going to put you in second place to drugs, partying, and random hookups. From what it sounds like, it's not that he thinks having a relationship will interfere with his academics or career prospects as he's trying to make it sound. He thinks having a relationship will interfere with his guilt-free need to indulge in drug binges and risky sex with strangers. If that's the kind of man you want to put your life on hold for, then be my guest. Yeah, I think basically this guy is giving her a too nice breakup. Yeah, this is great, but I'm gonna bounce for 2 years. Who knows, we might see each other again, down the road, but we're separating, so don't leave the porch light on. Also, this sub's take on woman sabbatical to find herself versus man sabbatical is kinda hilarious. The trouble here is the first part of what he said. The part about being able to experiencing things. That says he isn't fully ready yet. If I were you, I would tell him that you don't want to be in his way, but to help him, and you don't want to end it as you feel that will ultimately be permanent. If he isn't enthusiastic about this, it's best not to force it. You cannot survive without both people being on the same page. Thank you, this is good. How do I comfort my wife who just has a miscarriage? We tried for 6 months since June. She had surgery in October for her appendix. She got pregnant in December. The baby apparently stopped growing at 7 weeks 5 days. My wife still had symptoms up until the surgery to remove it. She was 11 weeks. She's sad, hurt, depressed. I'm here. We both got the week off. But how do I help her? What do I do? What did you do to help your wife that helped? I need any advice I can take. Edit. Hello everyone, updating on February 28th. Things have been better. My wife and I have started watching Shameless. We love it. We've been in bed the whole week on Reddit as well. I read all your comments and appreciate every one of you. I'm only 22, so I didn't want to pretend to know how to console my grieving wife. That's why I came to you. Maybe I'll update in the future. Thank you everyone. I just asked her if she wanted to talk. We did, but she still felt off, so I asked her to open up to her lady friends to see how they have handled something like this. Come to see that it's fairly common and both her aunts suffered miscarriages. She also spoke to her friends and they shared their experiences. On the other hand, could only support her how I could, making her comfortable and such. I also grieve differently, so I handled it like I usually do and was then able to focus on her. You also need time to heal. Some of the advice here is great for your wife, and that's what you came here for, but there's someone else here too. How are you? I imagine this is sad for you too, and you may need to find ways to deal with it. I don't know much about the situation, but make sure to take care of yourself too. I'm taking care of myself. I guess I'm still in shock. I've been mostly active here on Reddit trying to keep myself occupied discussing Marvel and whatnot when she's also keeping herself occupied on her phone. Been taking everyone's advice, because yay, it's hard for me, but she's the one who was carrying the baby and now lost it. Thank you for asking. You and everyone here on this thread has been very thoughtful in their responses. When I miscarried, the only thing that helped was venting and cuddling. It's hard to talk about, but it needs to be. Encourage therapy, but let her cry as much as possible. Cry with her. Mourn this loss together. That's what she needs most. Yes, I was the same when I lost our first pregnancy. I just wanted to talk about our baby and be held and to cry. I had a miscarriage at around 6W. What helped me was that my partner listened to me, cared for me. People will tell her things like if it was not meant to be, it's better like that. The baby probably had a problem. Better at 11W than at 5 months. You'll get pregnant fast. Even if those can be true, it hurts and she, and you, need to mourn what happened. When I got pregnant after that I was so paranoid, every cramp or aches or blood sent me to panic mode. I wish you the best, heart. Chances are, on top of feeling sad about losing the baby, she also feels shame and responsible for the loss of the pregnancy. It's important to let her know you're there for her and that you know she did everything she could to have a healthy pregnancy. I have a friend who miscarried her third 4 years ago and she still needs reminders that she did everything she could. She carries a lot of blame and still misses that child, even after successfully carrying another baby to term 2.5 years ago. I agree with the other poster who said to encourage her to open up to her friends. This is unfortunately a common experience that we like to keep to ourselves, which just increases the shame you feel. Talking with other women, even if they haven't personally gone through it, can be helpful. I'm sorry for your loss, yellow heart. Abused by my mother growing up. I'm terrified of becoming my mother, and continuing a pattern of abuse. I want a family one day, but I'm scared. How do you stop the cycle? Generational cycle of abuse. Are there experiences, tips, that you all would suggest? I don't know what normal is and it breaks my heart. I never realized I was abused until I went to a family gathering with my friend and realized how drastically different her home life was. Remember watching television, laughing and being amazed when they saw families on screen, because I imagined, this is why Hollywood movies are great, they show you amazing fantasies. I've been choked, beaten, picked up by my hair, and verbally abused as a kid, locked outside, isolated from other kids, advice, and taught life lessons like no one will ever love you, no one will care if you die in the street completely casually through my life. I'm aware my perception of normal is skewed, and I'm happy even when people treat me bad. I'm working on boundaries with a therapist. With no role model for what a good and healthy family looks like, I'm terrified I'm going to naturally continue the cycle of abuse. Therapy. Lots of self-work. The fact that you are concerned enough to put up this post is a step in the right direction. Knowing what your mother did wrong and not wanting to repeat her mistakes can save you from becoming her. I'm no mother, but I know what it is like to go a different path from my parents. You're gonna be okay, winking face. Abusive mother was had here too. Now I'm a mother, and grandmother, and I somehow all 5 of my kids, now adults, want to spend time with me, and are some of the kindest and most loving humans I've ever known. You see, we got a superpower from our mothers. All the things that damaged us, we don't have to do. We can choose loving and kind ways instead. Therapy is great. I read a lot, and talked to people. But 90% was about all the things that I longed for, that kind of mother my friends all seemed to have. I constantly asked myself if the decisions were correct, and I actually had to be careful to not overcompensate, but somehow we, kids and I, all managed. You can do this. Wanting to change it is the key here. Hugs from an old lady. Edit, thank you for award. Recognize the behaviors that constitute the abuse, as you've already started to, see them as the wrongs they are and continue making a list of horrible behaviors and patterns. Gain as much information as possible on healthy relationships and boundaries, which it seems you are doing also with a therapist. As someone who's been abused, it's hard to accept when you're shown kindness, because it's abnormal. But you've got to work on swapping what you consider normal. You should be treated as equal to other people. Treat people as you want to be treated, which sounds hard as your ideas of how you want to be treated is negatively. You've got to learn self-respect. It's a hard road you're traveling, but you'll make it. Also, abuse victims either become anti-abuse or become abusers. There's some middle ground, but not much. It's usually one or the other. Becoming an abuser out of abuse is how generational abuse continues, but abuse victims that become anti-abuse usually break the cycle. The fact you recognize that behavior as bad and are seeking to end the cycle means you are inherently anti-abuse. You are already on the right track. You do have a role model, your friend's family, and all the functional families on TV. I grew up in an abusive household too, and once you realize it's not normal, you'll be able to see all the things you don't want to repeat. From what you listed, don't physically abuse your kids, and show them a love rather than cruelty. You can't say no one will ever love you. That's your own failure, because you should love them, and half your fucking job is to teach them to love themselves the way you love them. Might seem hard, but breaking the cycle is easier than you think. The real problem is people get comfortable with the cycle, and let out their past frustrations when it's their turn to be the bully. They aren't victims, they want to do it. They'll beat you black and blue while boasting how they had it worse and it didn't do them any harm.